cooler this morning, wasn't it, guys?
Yes, sir.
About 15 more seconds. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone, for coming this morning. Like I said, a little cooler this morning, but certainly some beautiful weather out there here in Oktibbeha County. We're gonna go ahead and begin our recess November meeting. Thank you for everyone that's here and everyone that is online as well. And we're gonna move along as the agenda reads. We're gonna open the meeting up with a prayer. I'm gonna ask if Supervisor Howard would open us up with prayer.
Everybody here, please, this morning, our Heavenly Father, we come, we thank you for all the many blessings that you've given us. The Heavenly Father, we pray that you will continue to protect us, and the Heavenly Father, continue to guide us. Heavenly Father, we pray that you will protect the ones that's abroad, fighting for our freedom. We pray that you will give us wisdom and knowledge on a national level, on a state level, and on a local level. These are the blessings we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Supervisor Howard.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving right along to our citizens' comment period, where any citizen can come before the board for up to 3 minutes and address the board with whatever matter they would choose. So, state your name and step forward.
Good morning, board.
Good morning.
And everyone else. Myself and Dr. Johnson here today to represent the Unity Park Committee to make the announcement of our choice for the Unity Park inductee for January 18, 2021. The committee received several nominations, but it was long and tough. You know, we received about 7 of them, but it was long and tough. And we decided to go with George Evans and Dr. Glenn Peters. If you don't know, if you want to know more about George Evans, just go to our Heritage Museum, our Oktibbeha County Heritage Museum. He was a businessman, Boy Scout leader, and a very successful community leader. Dr. Peters was an educator. Started high school. If you ask anyone in the education center, do they know Dr. Peters? And they'll say yes. And finally, the Starbuck Unity Park would like to thank the Board of Supervisors for their continued financial support. I say again, financial support, and especially for your appreciation for the great work we'll continue to do. And we'll do as long as you keep the committee together. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks so much.
Dr. Johnson, do you have a read for one of those?
Yes.
Thank you. No problem.
You know that,
Well, I was gonna say, do we need to make an official board order or acknowledge these appointments?
just acknowledge that what they've done in the past. Because NAACP have not set the exact time and date for the March because of this corona going on. We're not sure how we're going to do it, but as soon as we do, we will be back to the board and let you know.
That'll work.
But we will not have a reception this year, next year because of the pandemic.
I got you.
So everything else still be the same.
Motion by Supervisor Williams.
Motion for approval.
Second by Supervisor Howard to acknowledge these 2 appointments.
Thank you.
Being George W. Evans and Dr. Fenton Peters.
Thank you.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you, Chris. Thank y'all. Yes, ma'am. All right. Anyone else? Seeing there are none, moving right along to the mapping services bid opening. I guess that'll be you tomorrow. We're going to do the bid opening on the mapping services.
I got them.
You got them, Miss Emily?
Yeah, we've only received bids from, Ross Lake Mansion. The bid, they did the 3 years second. The tax year 2021. $33,000.
73.
33,000.
That's from Tri-State.
Tri-State. For
Very good.
2022. $33,000. 2023. I think it's gonna be 33,000. It's 33,000 a year in 2021, 2022, and 2023. And I recommend that these bids be accepted, contingent upon Mr. Morgan reviewing to see that they meet the specifications.
Good deal.
I move we accept the recommendation.
Motion by Supervisor Howard to accept these bids for 21, 2022, and 2023. Need a second? Second by Supervisor Williams. Any more discussion on the matter? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Emily. All right, project update, Mr. Austin Barber, Clearwater Group.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody today?
Doing well.
Great. Thanks for having me, back again today. Basically, I wanted to just kind of give you a quick update, answer any questions that you may have as we, race towards the beginning of the 2021 legislative session. Our focus has been, on a number of different things, in no particular order. One, I spent some time recently with Mr. Williams as we toured Octok Road, looking at the condition of Octok Road, the beginning of it, at the footsteps of Mississippi State, all the way out to the county, 11 miles or 10 miles, 10, 11 miles or so forth. Seeing the development out there, the growth out there, as Mr. Williams has made it a priority of his, for us to try to help look for funding sources to resurface, I guess that's the best way to describe that, to resurface Octok Road. We've had conversations with Senator Wicker's office, MDOT, and others about potential funding sources. And as always, it typically comes down to, well, we may have to go back to the legislature and ask for to be considered to be a part of a bond bill. Or, and I think this is for all the different infrastructure demands that you guys request, priorities that you can have, see what the new administration, President-elect's administration, President-elect Biden's administration, as well as this new Congress will have to offer. It's very typical that a new administration comes in, particularly when you have divided government with Republicans and Democrats, that they want to tackle infrastructure. And so that should be that should put Octavia County in a good situation. But of course, I'm just theorizing at this point in time. But certainly that will allow us to take a look at projects like Octok Road, projects like in your district, John County Line Road and Maiden Service Road. You and I have talked a lot about those two specific roads and how they are priorities for you. So we're just gonna have to monitor really both of those priorities, both of those opportunities, parallel tracks to get funded for infrastructure projects, and just sort of work with our congressional delegation so that they can help us determine what are the new grants, what are the new programs that are out there that are being put out for counties like Octavia County. And I think that will happen fast and very quickly in 2021. But at the same time, of course, we're going to have the opportunity to go back to our state legislative leaders and ask them for funding support for the priorities that you guys deem are the priorities for the board. You tell us which projects that you want us to go fund. Secondly, I want to talk about the build grant. Sorry, I'm getting my phone to refresh it on this. Last year, we went, Oxford County partnered with Mississippi State, to try to get a nearly $25 million build grant for Courthouse Road. That's a very competitive process. I think there were 2 projects in the state of Mississippi that were funded this year. It usually takes 2 or 3 years before that happens. Carl Ferg led the application process for the county. Felt like it was a good application process. I saw the website and everything they did. It was really good, very well done. They will, again, if that's a decision that the board makes, I highly advise that you do that. Will again go and apply for the build grant. I have talked to Mississippi State. They are very interested in wanting to partner again with the county to go after that very large sum of money, but of course will be used for Courthouse Road. That's a decision that y'all make. And I guess candidly, we have to see what this new administration does. They may decide to go in a different direction. Maybe may not be called a build grant. They may want to term it something else. The third project, of course, is Marvell, in your district, is the Chippewa County Lake project. And I just don't have great news. We continue to struggle to try to find an answer for funding for it. Every conversation we have, whether it's we have a lot of conversations with Senator Wicker's office because their staff is so helpful in directing us to try to find different options and alternatives that are out there, whether it's with them or whether it's with state leaders. We just continue to try to find those opportunities to find a funding source for that project at this point in time. Doesn't mean we're going to give up. I think we should have conversations with the legislature if they come into session, or even before they come into session about that. But it's this one that candidly we have really struggled with. So, yes, sir. You pay us to be transparent, pay us to be honest. We wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't do that.
We're at the point, we just not put it up our own bootstrap, get it done. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I would say again, this is going to rest with the board for y'all to direct us of what your priorities are for this legislative session. Obviously, the biggest ones are always funding for infrastructure and for roads, but there may be other projects that you guys have, other issues that you want us to work on for whatever they may be. So we just ask that you just communicate with us and let's continue to talk as we always do to try to figure out what those are. But the ones that we have right now, we hadn't got any formal acknowledgement or direction from you, but the ones that we've been having conversations with would be the 3 roads in y'all's district. Yes, sir.
Austin, let me ask you a question, and speaking on specifically Maven Sturgis, and then of course we'll talk about Octop too. Maven Sturgis goes all the way into the town of Maven, which encompasses part of Supervisor Howard's district. Is that, when it crosses 82, Supervisor Howard, is that Maven Starkville Road, or is that Maven Sturgis still?
It's, Maven Starkville Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still on the same, in other words, Maven, and it comes up to Highway 82, and then from Highway 82, it goes all the way to Highway 12 in Sturgis, which is Supervisor Howard's, myself, and even in Supervisor Miller's district. Looking at that project, probably at a little over $1 million for all that, probably 1.3. If you had to guess, Supervisor Williams, how much Octop Road is there?
1.7, 1.8, I think, is the
Be close to
numbers that we
3.
saw for, yeah.
And then I don't know anything in supervisor training, but I guess as a tranche, I would say somewhere between 3 to 5 million would probably be a huge injection on some of our.
Yes, sir.
These are state aid roads, and quite honestly, the state aid money that we get,
It's very little.
well, and it's appreciated.
Sure.
Greatly appreciated for sure. But it's the mechanism of the state aid funding that we get every 4 years. I think we get around $420 $430,000 apiece per 4 years. And if you're looking at Supervisor Williams, myself, I've got $1 million project, he's got a $1.7 million project, then the mechanism to remedy that, we really need some help on that.
I understand.
For sure.
Last year, this year, 2020 legislative session, we got 1.5 million, I think that's right, for courthouse in Longview. I think our initial ask was $1 million, and they were very helpful, and thanks to your leadership, we were able to go get another 500,000, which helps, which makes a big difference. I know that y'all's state aid road money, as you said, it's not a lot. You've got so many projects that you want to fund with that. It does help us, I think, if we are able to go to legislative leadership, both to the House and the Senate. You correct me if you disagree with me, to say that you feel like you have some local money to match on top of what they're trying to do in a bond bill or whatever other monies that they have available. So I'm not telling you, let's just use Off-Top Road as, lack of a better example. If it's 1.7, I'm not saying you gotta put up 400 and we go try to ask for 1.3, but any money that you can put up from the local level really helps us and tell the story. They know the progress that's happening in Tillamook County, and of course they want to be supportive, and they have been very supportive. But it just helps us if that's at all possible. And I realize that it may not be.
Well, I don't know if that'll help any, but I think those routes are also federal routes.
Okay.
So,
That's
that
right.
might help, when funding.
Yes, sir. Well, again, we're primarily right now just talking about the legislative assistance, but we must keep our eyes to see what USDOT does with this new administration. Again, it looks like there'll be Republican-controlled Senate, Democrat-controlled House, and of course, Democrat-controlled White House. They're going to want to do something that they can do together, and usually fixing roads and bridges is something that they like to do together. And they usually like to try to do it quick, which would be great news for Tillamook County, I would say.
John, may we recognize you?
Well, I appreciate your work on all three issues, really including in Marvell District and the bridge situation there. Thank you for your help. I think both of these projects, all three projects is worthwhile.
Yes, sir.
It's something that really needs to be worked on, and because of the length of those roads, that's about the only way we are gonna be able to sufficiently do those roads in a way that it will last for a period of time.
Yes, sir. And I did want to say it again, because I went through this pretty quickly, and I don't want to miss the forest for the trees here. I had a conversation with Mississippi State leadership. They didn't make any promises about being supportive of Ock-Tock because of its proximity to the campus, but certainly thought that would make a lot of sense for them to do that. But they wanted to have some conversations with Dr. Keenan and others. But I think we can get their support. And of course, they're excited about going after the build grant again as well.
I think Rob wanted to.
Austin, thank you so much for coming. I know it's a pretty long drive down.
Gladly.
We appreciate your help with everything that and I appreciate the help, I genuinely do. I have got, and this has been conversations that I have had privately with each of our board members at one time or another, about the possibility of having a plan for over the next 10 or 20 years for a justice complex. This is something obviously that I don't think is going to happen overnight, nor do I think it's going to be something that happens in a 2 or 5 year period. However, I want it to be something on your radar that we discuss, at least while you're here. We have property that's behind Welch's Funeral Home. There is a justice complex there, or I say a justice complex, it's a justice court that sits over there. That's not much to it. We have a county health department that's over there, and then we have some other buildings, and frankly, there's other properties over there that can make a large piece of property for us that if we wanted to do a long-term project of some sort, I would like to see at least in thinking and putting this together and having conversations, us be able to put something together that sets up the next generation 20 years out that we are able to put together. And I'm not talking about, I hate to say it this way, I'm not talking about a metal building. I want a complex that this board could kind of take the lead on, that would be something that would prepare us for the next 100 years. These roads are really important, so I'm not trying to distract attention from the roads or frankly the dams or anything else that we've got out there. But sometimes, as you know, there are opportunities for building projects that are not necessarily road projects that have funding sources. I think the city would be interested in probably going in with us and partnering on some things that they would like in that vicinity as well. We would have an issue with dealing with the health department. The building that they're currently in, frankly, is not a very healthy building. Its structural integrity is probably not what it needs to be, and the layout's not what it needs to be. But while we're looking at stuff, if you happen to run across a situation where you think would plug in for, and I know that every city and every county in the nation, frankly, may have some of these types of projects, but we're kind of uniquely situated with the university sitting on one side of us and having the city and county, I believe, would go in together with this idea. So I'd like to throw that on your radar screen as we're going through this and help me kind of brainstorm some of this, assuming that this board is not completely against it. I think everybody
Sure, like the library too, it's just in the back.
Can I mention that in the buildings that, the welfare's in was built in the 1940s, I think it's 1945 building. And it's the county building, but it houses all state employees. We're required to house those employees. They're not county employees. The health department is the same. We're required to provide the building and everything, but it houses state employees. So in essence, maybe the state will get behind us on that since we're housing.
Right, and also, as Supervisor Miller has said, the city has asked for the potential of having a new library built. Part of, and I think they have considered Highway 82 as part of their project, but I don't think that they're just completely concrete wherever it goes. I think there's a possibility that we could put this together in a larger project. I'm not trying to speak for the city. I'm certainly not trying to say that this is what they would agree to or not agree to, but they're interested in a large project like that as well. What I'm interested in is something that would set the county and the city up for the next 100 years, because frankly, we haven't, if somebody 30 years ago had been setting us up today, we wouldn't be dealing with some of the issues that we're now dealing with.
I think it's a great idea. I would say it's important to figure out, is the city willing to partner with you guys, and if it's the board's desire for us to start trying to have conversations, and that is going to be a long education process. We'll have to talk to our friends and the federal delegation to see if we can find one or them or some of them to get passionate about this, and something like that would happen.
This may be a 10 or 15 year
Sure.
project.
Sure.
From my theory on this,
And I hope we're still representing the board.
my theory on this is that if we could figure out a way to plant some seeds, and frankly, my idea right now is we're throwing a couple of seeds out there and seeing if we can get something to start growing like this.
So that's it for my report. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are.
We certainly appreciate you coming. Anything else for Mr. Barber, from anyone else from the board?
Just wondering if since we potentially new administration that's how we taking over, until we sort of find out which direction they want to go, will every quarter, just a little report every quarter, will that be inconvenient for you?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, candidly, yeah, you talking about a report with me here in person?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, else, if you can.
I think it's a healthy thing for
Yeah.
me, or if I can't make it, one of my partners to be
Okay.
here in front of you guys.
When do y'all go back in session, Rob?
January the,
First few days of January.
yeah, it's that first week of January, and I can't remember exactly what day, but it's that first week of January.
So you kinda, it would be well, like Supervisor Howard saying is, you would certainly in the next quarter know the direction that the session's going.
Yep.
In Jackson, kinda let us know maybe what we need to get on board with, what we may need to change.
Maybe your second meeting in January would be a good time.
The recess meeting in January.
And not to,
We'll let me know what time.
not to make this sound like it's too negative, but everybody keep in the back of your heads, we've just gone through a financial downturn, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't know what these numbers are gonna look like, you may have seen more than I have, but I'm a little concerned that what we experienced over this last year, we may not reap for another 2 years.
Right.
Is that a fair
I
assessment?
agree, yeah.
We'll feel it more in the rears, is that what you're saying, and then just a time. But you know what I'm saying, in the back.
I think too, for the citizens, that's another, just what you were saying, is to be very cautious about even considering raising taxes or bonds.
Yes.
You know, people are really struggling during this time, and I know we have a lot of issues. We need to do what we can do within the means that we have right now.
Amen.
We don't need to increase their taxes, my firm belief.
But you need to maximize the taxes that they're paying. And we need to take advantage of some of these opportunities that will come up with borrowed money and low rates and things of that nature. Because we got problems, we got issues we need to address. And we cannot depend on Jackson and Washington DC to solve our Tillamook County problem without us doing what we need to do on the local level. They just boils down to that. But everybody got their hand out. Austin just said, the more money you can put in the game and leverage what you got, the better off you'll be. So that's what we gotta find some money here locally so we can leverage other dollars.
All right.
State aid, our state aid dollars are still on hold. You know, like to be able to match those state aid dollars with some project that you come up with. You know, mine are on hold, I believe the other supervisors.
Well, I think
state
it
aid
would be,
dollars are
it
on
would be
hold.
wise to be in a bit of a holding pattern, like Supervisor Williams is saying, till the session comes in and then we know where to kind of put our, like
I
you
agree.
said, our match money.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
So we wouldn't want this to be, maybe 2 years, 3 years down the road. It might be too late, but
If you
soon,
hold them
soon
too long,
develop.
the state will take them back.
Right.
Yeah, we hold it too long, it's
They're
gonna
gonna,
take.
you're gonna lose it.
So we don't need
Can
to
we hold it until next spring, Ms. Henry?
I would say you tempted fate.
So we can get a ruling, in January, February, something like that, March, that would be good. We can
Yeah,
move
because
forward.
this is only a 90-day legislative session, so they'll be out by April 1st. So all decisions on funding for infrastructure will be made middle of, early March, early to middle of March. So you won't have to wait long.
Right, okay.
Okay. Well, thank y'all again. You have my number, call me if you need anything. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. I think, Clyde, did you wanna interject into the meeting? I see something that's been added to the agenda here.
You want me now?
Yes, sir, come on.
Okay, so I'm gonna piggyback just a little bit on Mr. Barber's work, if I could. Just a reminder, and he and I have had this conversation, but I'd like to have it with the board also. The estimates that you have right now for Macon Sturgis and Hot Top are at a point in time. And particularly those two roads are at a condition that a bad winter, a bad this, a lot of ice, what have you, those estimates could go up 50%, 100% in a bad year. So just understand while we're talking about, you know, 1.3 million, 1.8 million right now, if these processes which necessarily take time, if they go 2 years, 1.8 could be 3.5 or 3.6. I mean, the estimates you have, again, are at a point in time, and these roads aren't gonna get any better.
Well, I guess my question, Clyde, and I've met with you, and I'm sure Supervisor Williams has as well. Without putting more on the backs of the taxpayers of Ocklawaha County, which are quite honestly tired and,
Everybody can go out.
next year is gonna be, I'm optimistic, but yet I'm realistic. What mechanism with 430,000 in state aid do I have to pay Maiden Sturgis Road? What mechanism would he have to be able to resurface Octop Road without putting more on the backs of the
You
taxpayers?
just really don't. I mean, it's just not enough money to affect anything that's gonna be meaningful by way of salvaging the road, extending the life of the road. It's just not gonna be enough to do it by itself.
So, without being able to, like Mr. Barber had just mentioned, match, be it state or federal monies, without putting more again on the backs of the taxpayers of Ocklawaha County, what mechanism is there to pay for
It's just really not. Again, I sympathize with the situation, I understand the funding. I just want you to understand, again, that while we've given Austin numbers now, if this stuff takes a year, 2 years to, come to fruition, those numbers may not be valid anymore. Again, those numbers could go up 50%, could go up 100%. There, especially, and y'all know I try not to do favorites anyway on any of it, but I'll use Octok as an example. Octok is at a condition right now where if you spend the money, then we salvage the road, we get extended life, you take full advantage of the overlay project that y'all did years ago on it, all that gets saved, if you will. If you wait too long, then you're back in a reconstruction mode like we've done so many times where we had to go end to end, mill the road bed up, redo the base, redo the surface, so those past monies are somewhat wasted. You've gotten some benefit, but your cost goes up exponentially with time.
And you'll be like we are on Maiden Sturgis.
Similar deal with Maiden Sturgis. It's at a point now, I don't remember the exact number,
You gave me, well, no, it was actually around 970 something thousand.
So $1 million right now does a lot of good on Maiden Sturgis, but it may not make a difference 2 years from now.
Which sort of goes back to what Supervisor Trainer was just saying about possibly leveraging your tax dollars you've already spent, rather than having to spend that and triple a few years down the road. That's just something we need to go look at, talk about.
Or you could revisit the sale of the asset we got on Hospital Road. That was a major financial implication. Or you could look at the possibility of combining the city and county government. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, but all of them are going to be major things to be done that's going to involve this entire community.
And back to your state aid, I've asked you for a couple of times that y'all help me program the state aid work. And certainly, we're gonna do whatever y'all want to do when, but understand too, John, I'll address you, if it waits till spring, or say late spring, then those jobs get designed, programmed, which takes a month or so, designed probably by end of summer. So all of a sudden you're letting the contract in the fall when you can't work. So you pushed your work up into 2022.
So you ready to go ahead and let's program Maiden Sturgis Road today?
If you got the money, we'll lay it to it. But I just want you to understand these things take time, so if we walk in and, if we walk in late spring, you're pushing work out down the road. You've lost a construction season. Our objective early on was let's get them designed this fall, this winter, let them in the spring, build them this coming summer. But we're rapidly getting to the point, we're pushing this stuff out a year. But that's, again, it's your call. You're gonna do exactly what y'all want to do.
Again, to our call is, there is no mechanism, and I've stated that to the state level, leaders. Of course, I know they only, financially, there is a limit, it's finite on a state level and on a federal level. And, we've seen that, and we've seen the detriment on a federal level and on a state level when the budgets get out of whack. I would be ready to program Maiden Sturgis today, but I don't think I would get the 3 votes to make it happen, and that would be fair across the board. It's just, we as supervisors are in a situation financially where, quite honestly, without putting more on the backs of the taxpayers of Occidental County, we have no mechanism
Well,
to
let me ask
pay
you
that
this.
road.
What about, you know, the money that's coming in from the, lottery money and stuff? What if we took that money and paid on a bond where we didn't have to raise the tax level? I mean, can we do that? That money that's coming in from internet sales and things like that, so we don't have to raise the taxes of the people? Could we be smart and make that our bond payment, so we don't have to raise taxes and still get some projects done? Can we do that legally?
That's a good question, Supervisor Miller. I asked that, and, I mean, just offhand, I discussed it a little bit with Supervisor Trainer. Is the monies that we're getting in on internet sales tax, could we self-fund a bond issuance, that reflects that payment?
Well, that and also the lottery money that, you know, all that will be coming instead of.
Lottery
We don't
money.
get
Not yet, but we will.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of money.
Well, we will.
No, we're not gonna get that.
Rob, that's a question that would seriously be, like Supervisor Miller saying, it could be, quite honestly, the answer, that we could take the monies that we're getting from the internet sales tax right now, and hopefully in the future the lottery, use that money that comes in, the schedule, it comes in on a schedule, and mirror a bond to whatever amount that bond would be for however many years you could extend it out, because that is, I won't say guaranteed money, but it pretty
Can I
much
make a
is.
suggestion? The internet sales money is gonna be flexible.
It is, but wouldn't you think during this time that it would actually go up, as we see
Yeah, it's
more local
yeah.
businesses struggle?
Mhm.
And we know people don't wanna leave their homes, I would think that that would be a time that, I mean, we're seeing, you
What
know,
I
local
would
businesses
suggest
struggle, so
doing, instead of looking at that to fund a bond payment, is you look at that to replace the millage that you would shift to make the bond payment. You're gonna have to have millage for bond payments, unless you're gonna do a revenue bond. And that's gonna be hard to do, so I would say, okay, I'm gonna get this 400,000 in here, so I'm gonna put it over here in my road fund, and whatever that for. Then I'm gonna take enough millage out of my road fund, and I'm gonna shift it for my bond payment.
Kinda like what Lynn was talking about with that capital, well, Lynn Norris.
We're building that capital fund now, and we're short on, what, 2 mills? To get where we needed it, so we would look at that with sales tax, internet revenue coming in to replace the millage, and then take that millage and put it over there from that capital project.
Back when all the talk on the dam was going on, I felt like I had identified some areas where we could do some readjusting and we could do a bond issue, but I don't know, you know, that's a work session deal, that's something we
Yeah.
really need to go into a work session, cause you know.
And we're losing, part of that was gas severance money,
Yeah,
we're losing
so-
our gas severance money
But-
because the
but that's
legislature
something
let
we
them
can look
agree
at.
on it.
In a work session, Clyde's trying to.
I get it, but we're trying to come up with an answer that is time sensitive here.
I just want you to understand the parameters that we're looking at. Number one, the estimates are gonna flow with time, things aren't gonna get any better. Number two, there's a lag time between the time that y'all say go, whether it be state aid work or anything else, getting them approved, getting it on the contract, getting it on the construction.
And I have a feeling fuel prices are going to rise. And that's
Good,
They are.
very high.
Lot of unknowns, but
But we appreciate everything, we're looking for the answer, it's just,
all right, I got just a couple other things, and certainly if you have any questions. This is a revised subcontract agreement on Blackjack Road. the original curb and the other contractor that y'all approved is not gonna be able to do the job. So this subcontractor, this allows us to subcontract Cornerstone Civil for Burns. They're actually doing the project at Glen Lane and South Montgomery out there now, that subdivision. So this just changes our subcontractor from Ballard to Cornerstone. There's 6 copies of that.
No additional cost.
No additional cost, just changing contract.
So we need a motion and a second to approve
So moved.
this,
The
subcontract.
subcontractor.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard. Any more discussion on the matter? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. So Clyde, help me out now here.
Yeah, if y'all will sign it, select 6 copies. I'll move on, earlier in the week, we sent an estimate, Supervisor Williams had requested that we take a look at the Harris Road Bridge. That is a bridge that y'all did some work on Highland years ago, that we repaired those, but the bridge is still deficient. It has a deficiency rating less than 50. It is LSBP eligible. While we were doing our estimate, we looked at the drainage basin. The bridge is actually smaller than it should be. So we have a revised estimate to go for a 40-foot span, a 60-foot span, a 40-foot, basically a 140-foot of bridge in there at a cost, including fees, of around $800,000. That well exceeds what you have in your LSBP monies now. I have placed a call to state aid with Harry Lee James and the Bridge Division. You've seen the letters from time to time over the last couple of years about counties that were not spending their LSBP money or had not programmed or had not done this, and there might be a possibility of transferring funds. So I've asked that question to Harry Lee James. He was tied up on Friday. I expect an answer back within the next couple of days.
Do you actually have the list, like we got before, of the bridges and the priority?
There is a list, I don't have it with me, but there
Can
is.
you email that to us, and what about that bridge in the city that we talked about?
I've got that on the list, but I can go there now.
No, no,
If
go ahead.
you like.
I'm glad you did some research on the Harris Road Bridge. That bridge is undersized for that basic. So, to me, that means that the bridge is in danger of collapsing.
When you're,
To me now, that's what that means.
when your deficiency rating goes under 50, it says it's eligible for replacement and needs to be replaced.
It needs to be replaced. Not only that, it's a large span and the span is not long enough, it doesn't have any mechanism to support the bridge. No, it doesn't have any pillars.
Well, there's some that we worked on a few years ago, but they're not what they need to be. It would require a total reconstruction.
Total reconstruction. Yeah.
So,
In other words, I hate to see individuals in Occidental County to continue to travel over a bridge that we know that is deficient. And also a school bus goes over that bridge also.
They do, as the Supervisor Miller's point, and requested, I'll give y'all a list of the deficient bridges in the county. Okay?
speaking on bridges, what about the Longview Edenton Bridge?
It's almost finished. We put, it's jumping a little bit, but we got the backfill done on the Sun Creek bridges last week, rail done, they're moving to Longview Edenton, so we should have it under traffic here just really soon. Moving Old West Point Road, Supervisor Trainer had asked us sometime back, and in light of one of the accidents there, to kind of look at the whole entire road bed with respect to signing, striping, those type things. The Rural Roadway Division of MDOT, Mr. Richard Allen is chimed in, he sent his staff down there and look. They recommended, basically all new signage for the road, all new chevrons in the curves, a little bit of clearing, but they're providing those to the county. He's emailed me this morning, he's ready to deliver. I just need to know who he delivers to, and I can have David Harrelson in my office coordinate, getting the signs put in. So, great service from MDOT on looking at that thing, analyzing the speeds, the curve speeds, etc. So, Supervisor Trainer, if you let me know where to go with them.
Road department. That's
Mr. Backett, do you have a particular office you want those signs delivered to?
You can bring the central shop.
Central shop, right there by our place?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll do that and I'll let you know when they're coming.
Thank you.
Clyde, back up just a little bit about the bridge in town. Supervisor Miller had asked about earlier.
It's next
What,
on the list.
what do we need to do?
Do what?
What do we need to do to come to an agreement on that bridge?
We're talking about the Barnett Drive Bridge.
Yes, sir.
All right, the sequence of events that came up last week on the Barnett Drive Bridge. I'll take you back a little bit in history. Almost 2 years ago, y'all authorized an LSVP project there, an LSVP fund. We came in and said we need to put in 2 pipes to replace that structure. At a cost, I think, I'll quote $134,000 or so. When the city saw that we were gonna do pipes, they asked for a box culvert. And then later, they asked for a bigger box culvert that exceeded LSVP's design requirements. So we got in a long conversation about who pays for the extra engineering, who pays for the bigger box, who pays for the difference in the monies. And that thing has floated around for a year or so. So we posed the question back to state aid about, kind of re-up the conversation. Here's what the city'd like to do. Here's what we've come up with. State aid picked it up on their own. Meaning Freddie Hollis, who's the bridge engineer, Art Whitney, who's our district engineer, and David Barrett, who is the bridge inspection engineer. So I think Miss Emily distributed you an email. Those 3 guys late last week said, and I'll summarize, number 1, we run the hydraulics, 2 60-inch pipes will work. That's what we would do. That's what we would pay for. Number 2, Freddie Hollis and David Barrett's looking at the pictures and they say, we're not sure that this is a bridge. Minimum standard for a bridge is 20 feet. As I've shared with y'all before, we have these 19-foot spans and stuff that don't qualify as a bridge. So Mark Whitney volunteered. He said, I can come down there and actually measure it, head wall to head wall, if you'd like. I said, Mark, there's no reason really to do that. We're here. I'll dispatch David Harrelson out. We'll measure, report back. The actual bridge is less than 18 feet long. Technically, it is not a bridge. It doesn't qualify for LSVP funds. It doesn't qualify to be inspected under a bridge inspection system. David Barrett says, I'm sending the form, you fill it out, it comes off of Occidental County's inventory. I posed the question, I said, David, we have a board meeting on Monday. Do I need a board order to remove this bridge from the inventory? Response was, with all of them on the conference call, was, no, you have no choice. It doesn't qualify as a bridge, so it comes off.
How come we're just discovering this now?
Do what?
How come we're just now, this was on the list as one of the number 5 hazard bridge, it was on there. How come we're just now discovering it's not a bridge?
Good question, and valid question, but when we were appointed way back when, Miss Emma knows the date, she looked it up, but when we were appointed LSVP engineer and county engineer and what have you, we were provided a bridge inventory. That inventory transferred from Mr. Goodwin to us to whatever. A couple of years ago, because it was a distinct and different kind of structure, y'all seen the pictures, the little V and head walls and this and that, they turned this over to Michael Baker under special inspections, because they've been paying them, or y'all have, a couple of $1,000s a year every year to look at this thing. They didn't pick it up. Literally, Freddie Hollis at State Aid looked at the picture and said, well, the data says it's 20 feet and 6 inches long. I don't think it's that long. Y'all go check, because it's from inside of the bridge to inside of the bridge, not the outside surface. So they picked it up. So technically, the bridge doesn't belong to you anymore. question.
In essence, what does that mean?
It means, number one, we can't spend LSBP money on it, we can't spend state aid money on it. It comes off of our annual or biannual inventory. The county will no longer be responsible for inspecting that structure.
It means it's the city's.
It doesn't change the quality of the bridge, that it's still a dangerous bridge and it's still inside the county, even though it's in quote, in the city limits. Just changes it, it's not on the list, 2 years later we find out.
What is, you're correct in that the rating it has now, it'll actually come off of any inventory you'll see in the future, and it will not be officially inspected by us or Michael Baker or anybody under the National Bridge Inventory System anymore. So, that said, if it deteriorates 100% between now and next year, right now, nobody's gonna look at it.
And so the responsibility will lie on the city of Starkville.
That's my understanding.
Like I said, that it is, I mean, for news to me right now.
This all came up, and you can check your emails, Frank, Emily distributed them, but this whole thing started burning like 3 o'clock Friday afternoon.
Like all of them that we get from it.
Let me tell you,
Last thing Friday
when
afternoon.
this came up at the last board meeting, and who was gonna do what, who's gonna do what and everything, and it being an LSB bridge, I told Clyde, he talked about, could go 100 year and what it would do if, with him and yada, 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 and if somebody flooded from the bottom. I told Clyde I wanted something from state aid to tell us what the situation is with that bridge, not with him, not with the city or anything like that. I wanted LSBP's opinion. So that's when he contacted LSBP about it, and this is what we got.
That's it in a nutshell. 2 things happened when state aid dug into it. Number one, they confirmed what we said so far as replacement the first time. The 2 60-inch pipes would have been plenty. They went through, you'll see an email, you'll see a lot of Q25, Q100, this basin, that basin. They also said in the email, there's no need to upsize this thing because there's smaller pipes upstream and smaller pipes downstream. It's never gonna see that flow anyway, which is what we said all along. And then they came back and did research and said, we don't think it's a bridge. And when we measured it, it's not a bridge. So it's a crossing, but technically, legally, it's not a bridge. It's like any other 19-foot or 18-foot span y'all have in the county out there somewhere that's not being inspected. You know, I've talked to you about small span structures and all, but it's not being looked at regularly, and it will no longer be inspected under this system. And your state monies are not eligible to be spent on.
Under LSBP is the issue though, we can't use LSBP funding to fix this bridge from a legal standpoint, correct?
Correct.
Alright, that doesn't mean that we can't be involved in helping if we do this on our own, it just ain't gonna
Correct.
come out
If
of
the
LSBP.
county wanted to enter into some type of local private agreement or something and say, we're gonna put up X dollars to fix this structure, and we agree it needs to be fixed, then y'all are free to do that. But you
Okay,
cannot do
just
it
wanna
under your LSBP or your state aid money.
Thank you, I just wanted to make sure that my head was
Correct.
where it needed to be, if we rolled down any direction.
What about the small span bridges? And if anybody has anything on that bridge, by all means, bring it up to Clyde. I don't mean to interrupt. But I was gonna ask about the small spans, 20 and under, the 19-foot spans. Can you get us that list? I know you.
Well, y'all authorized me now, I'm guessing down like 18 months ago to start looking at those, and when they say it's longer than that. And I've had two folks out there trying to find them. And we literally having to ride the roads to find them, because we'll see a little crossing on the map, we don't know if it's a pipe, if it's a bridge, it's a structure, so we're developing a map of where they are, how long they are, and then what kind of shape they're in. And I would hope, maybe by early spring, that we can hand that to you and show them to you. But then it's not as obvious as you would think just to run out and see, because some of them are old rusted out pipes, some of them are little bridges, some of them are little timber head walls and things that are in there, but they are not being looked at, you know, every 2 years like all your eligible bridges are.
I've got a couple of down, give you, and let you take.
Yeah, now, I mean, any information y'all got, y'all ride these roads all the time, and you can tell me there's one over here and one over here, but for us to just pick up a map and go find them is a little bit challenging.
One on maybe Sturgis, but it would need the road done first.
Okay, you have in your packet, and I see on the agenda, there's a little change order for, striking on courthouse, that was related to the signal guy. That was just a misstep on our part, we failed to put 2 stop bars in the project. Now that we're gonna stop traffic on the other roadway, we just didn't put it in there, missed it. So that's a change order for J.C. Cheek to come in and put those stop bars
So we
in.
need a board order to allow J.C. Cheek to come in and do that little bit of extra striping.
Yeah, I believe one has the actual change order form.
It's in your.
I think that's
It's
about.
fine. Have we ever done a county project, we didn't have a change order on? I can't remember one, but yes, I make a motion, we gotta do
I
this.
just wrong with it. I'll do that.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, second
I'll
by
second that.
Supervisor Williams. Any more discussion on the matter? If not,
That's in
all those in
that
favor
matter.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
You got the amount, I believe is.
$2,866.14,
Yeah,
but I probably don't need another one. So it's fine.
28.
Oh, what's that wrong?
I've already done that.
How you doing, Michelle? Just how you doing this morning?
Well, a couple other things, and I'll get down to the little jail project on the slopes. We're trying to get that finished, contractor moved back in this morning. We've had a little issue with subcontractor on that job, but he's in. Miss Emily has made her thoughts well known, finishing that project.
I did not have a subcontract.
County Lake Dam, we received the information from the GIS people, I told you that, they've actually been in office a couple times. We're trying to get that information into the map so we can start, doing our thing with it. It's a lot of data to handle. I mentioned to you sometime back, I'll go back to money, but the dam is certainly in no better condition than it was last year. And I would encourage your budget to include pumps and emergency measures should they become necessary again. If we get high water like we had last year in the spring, we're probably gonna be in a pumping condition again.
Even after we cut the riser.
Cut the wood.
You're talking about the concrete
Yeah,
riser?
riser.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's gonna help us, that's buying us time, but if that thing gets overwhelmed and the lake gets up to where it did before, it'll only pass so much water. I just encourage you to have a line item on the back of your mind number in there. You can look at what we spent last year,
Did we ever get in compliance with MDEQ? The last letter was that after we had done the drilling report, that we had not, the last letter I saw was that we had not supplied them with the company and the information on the drilling report, so if we were gonna move forward, the county was to write a letter saying that they weren't responsible for replacing the levee because they didn't have the information to back it up.
You talking about the voyage in the levee and the drill?
Yeah.
We provided them with the board logs. McCurcher was not aware that we're a licensed well driller. He was under under the impression that we had subcontracted to another company to do those borings, but we're licensed to do that. We provided him the information to date on that.
Have we gotten a follow-up, like Miss Emily, can you follow up on that letter to see if that cleared us
Okay.
and the requirements?
And that pretty much wraps it up for me.
Anything else for the road, for our county engineer?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges.
Thank you, Clyde. Lot of homework here.
All right, Carl, I'll let you know when that sign is supposed to show. You know back to that.
All right, thank you. Chancery clerk business,
I don't have anything to do.
she's got nothing. All right. County Business, Administration, Ms. Gary, December.
I can have one payroll change.
Seen the payroll change in the packet. Need a motion for,
So move.
approval. Second. Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Webster County had donated a, truck to the Marion Volunteer Fire Department, I guess several years ago, and we didn't realize it, well, now we discovered it, and I need y'all to accept the donation of it, so we can officially get it on inventory for insurance purposes.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard. Any more discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Starkville Airport did not invoice us for their fourth quarter budget allocation for the fiscal year 2019-20. And so now if they realize that they want to get it, and I would need the board's approval to, pay something that was supposed to be paid out of last year's budget, out of the current year budget,
This
because
is-
they'll overdraft the budget.
This is normal, what we do anyway, correct?
Yeah, it's just a year behind, it's from how this budget out of place. We didn't pay it to them, so,
$7,900.
yes.
Recommend approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Got the annual course and a request for Sun Creek Bridge, number 157, in the amount of 167,564.72.
You good with that,
So
Supervisor
moved.
Howard? All right.
Oh, yes.
Motion by Supervisor Howard. I'll second that. Any more discussion on the matter? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Traffic can actually cross over the bridge.
They've been doing good, and they're a great bridge company.
Yeah, yeah.
They do good work.
Government proclamation for additional holidays came in last week, and, we want to do a little shifting so we can stay in line with what we always do. So the amended schedule that's been recommended for November and December 2020 is listed at the bottom of the sheet. We would like to get that approved. Of course, the Thanksgiving is just an additional day till Friday. And then Christmas comes in where we take Christmas Eve in lieu of Confederates Day, and now he's giving Christmas Eve as an additional day. So we want to move our in lieu to the 23rd, and then he's giving an additional day at December 31st.
Will you come back to work on the 28th, the 29th, and 30th?
Yes.
Need a motion?
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries.
Trail Bronx Trailer Inc. invoice is in your packet. I don't know if everybody's heard the story about this, but I can't pay it unless the board approves it. It was done without a,
I would like to
done without
ask
a purchase order.
the road manager, Mr. Baggett, if you would, help us out on the, and here's the thing, on the trailer that I saw, it was $7,000 worth of work on one of them. It looks like they replaced everything.
Yeah, they did that, they did that on their own. Now, I talked to those people, we set the first trailer down, I made sure that they understood that if they didn't, get a PO, that there would be a chance that they would not get paid. Now, we had to emphasize that about 4 times, so they finally set up close, and we finally got a PO for them. Then we did a second one, and it was about the same amount of money. That one was fine. On this third one, we told them over and over again that we needed a quote so we could get a PO. And we received an invoice, a copy of an invoice, and we called and asked them if they had fixed the trailer. And they said, yeah, and I told them, well, if you know, I don't know, it's out of my hands as far as payment is concerned. I have to take it, I mean, give it to the board and let the board and the attorney handle it, because, I think we did everything that we were supposed to do. We spoke to that man 3 times.
Yeah, you're right, there was 3 trailers, the first 2 were pretty acceptable, I mean, but this invoice right here, I mean, you drove the trailer over there, right?
Yeah, we put it over. The only thing we had asked him to do was to, check the brakes and the lights. So when we hooked it into the new trucks, we wouldn't have electrical problems with the truck and the trailer. And they literally took that on their own now. They even put tires on the trailer.
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, looking at what they did, I don't think a trailer doing everything that they did on it would have made it to West Point, is my point, you know. So I
My
guess,
problem, and the thing of it is also attached there is where we got a request to take it off of inventory the year before.
yeah,
And so basically it was not something that was gonna be usable.
what do you haul on that, on that low boy, like a small dozer, will it handle the traffic?
Small dozers, rubber tire, backhoe, video.
So, I guess my question, and any other board member wants to jump in, what do we need to let the legal matters handle this? Because again, you echoed that you never approved it.
Right.
I mean,
I guess it's gonna be up to the board, but we did not approve that in the road department.
is the trailer still there?
They still have the trailer. In fact, he called this morning, and I told him I didn't know.
But let me just ask this, how much on this list that you feel like didn't need doing to the trailer? I mean, because I'd rather have a safe trailer out on the road, especially hauling dozers and things like that. So on this list, how much do you think didn't need doing to the trailer?
The only thing that needs to be done was the brakes need to be checked and changed if necessary, and the lights need to be fixed. Now, I had,
You just needed to make whatever truck unit that you put on that trailer, that when you hooked it on, it wouldn't short something out. In other words, the electrical
right.
system
And
needed.
it shouldn't be being used at all, because we have gotten requests to remove it from the inventory.
And I don't know.
I mean, it was not usable.
I guess the request came from the road department,
It
and I
did.
really don't know how, because the trailer is just as, and I was surprised to hear that was from the administrator, but the trailer, that particular trailer is just as good as the other 2. And so,
How much was one of those trailers cost you?
Yeah.
We paid $8,900 for that trailer in 1995.
Probably
Well,
probably a $12,000 trailer. Would you say it's 12 to 13?
I didn't check on it, I didn't check on it, I didn't around the 2. That would be a pretty expensive trailer, it's a low one trailer.
Yeah, it's a
I
good trailer.
was thinking $15,000 to $18,000 for a trailer like this.
It's a good trailer, but the problem is they did a lot of stuff.
New one for that.
They totally refurbished the trailer.
They did a lot of stuff they weren't asked to do.
I understand,
Yeah.
I do understand.
It just- Because the first 2 trailers that you took over there, everything was fine. I mean, those invoices weren't.
Right.
And I'm not
Question.
saying to pay them, but I do know we constantly have trailers down. And we can't haul it, and it disrupts our daily workflow and our work schedules, and trailers sitting aside, and brakes not working, lights not working. And I'm not saying pay them, on this bill, but I do know if we got trailers that we can depend on, and that's not brake working and stuff like that, it saves up and down the road, you know.
And sometimes the foreman are really slow about saying anything, but the brakes hadn't been working on the trailer. I mean, they didn't have to stop the truck, stop the trailer loaded with the truck.
And I don't know if it was this particular trailer, but I do know that they made a couple of trips back to pick up the trailer, and they would fix one thing, and I think it's sort of accumulated from our past mechanic, hot wiring, and cutting wires, and crossing wires, and half fixing, things like that, on those trailers.
Yeah, I do know, there was one where it went back a couple of times before this one got there, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Cause there was gonna cost one thing to fix it, and then I saw where they kept on changing the purchase order amount, which should not have been done.
Well, I would like to be fair with them, but at the same time, they be fair with us. And I just looking at the inventory.
I think I'll turn it.
Mr. Attorney wants to get in.
I believe you.
Let me try to help out here. Why don't we table this matter for the next meeting? I'd like to have a conversation with our road manager to find out, what some of the issues may have been. One of the things that I think we need to keep in mind in terms of, if this were a regular business or whether it be county government, there's the same issue on the table here. Number one is this a common occurrence? Do these people do this all the time? Do they try to harm us? Do they try to help us? This is a business relationship that we're gonna be in with these people one way or the other. Number two is whether or not this stuff was needed or was it not needed, and whether or not we approved it, which it sounds like we didn't. However, if it was something that needed to have been done and it was just a miscommunication, that's a different question other than whether or not they were intentionally doing something to create a problem. And the third and final, there's a money issue here. When we go down the road of a legal dynamic here, how much is $7,000 or $8,000 for a trailer that we would have probably spent $2,500 to $3,000 to fix? So what we're talking about is not $7,000. What we're probably talking about is about $3,000 or $4,000. So do we spend the additional money from getting into a legal matter with them, or do we work with them in that regard? And that's information y'all don't have on the table yet. So if that helps at all, I would suggest that y'all hand that over to me. Let me find out a little bit more information so I can present it to you.
I guess a combination of things, and I know we're gonna table this, and I don't mind that. But for instance, it's like our road manager said, they replaced tires on it that I don't think they didn't even need replacing. There's like $1,200 or $1,150 worth of tires that they replaced that we really didn't even need. So I mean, it's almost, I don't mind paying some or most of this, or hey, if we're proving that the tires are bad, I don't mind paying all of it, but, I think we just need to.
What about this, I don't know who they communicated with, or they communicated with the person that took it down there that said, replace the tires?
You're exactly
Or
right.
did they, I know they didn't talk to the purchase clerk.
I think our attorney got the right approach, just,
Yeah.
it didn't work for this.
Table, we'll bring it up in our next meeting.
I think you need to do official board order, having the attorney look into it.
Let's have a board order for our attorney to look into it then. Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any more discussion on this? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
We got orders for the lowboy trailer, the 4 semi-trucks and that other thing that I can't think of the name of it right now. Yeah, knuckle boom, yeah. And so, I'm planning on paying for the knuckle boom and the lowboy out of, paying for it when it gets delivered, but we're gonna have to finance the 4 semi-trucks. So I need permission to get quotes for financing.
So move.
Second.
All right, motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Williams to get quotes on the 4 semi-trucks.
Financing for financing.
All right, to finance them. So we have already agreed we're gonna buy the knuckle boom?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything that he had on his proposal, last board meeting.
All right. Any more discussion from any other board member?
What was the rationale behind not getting finance options on all of them?
Because of the price of it, it's not rationally to take that out for that long. We've got the money where we can pay for that you don't wanna finance $45,000 and have to make monthly payments on that, and I think the knuckle boom cost $140,000 itself. Yeah. It's just a lot of work put in.
When is the knuckle boom gonna be in?
Before the end of November. But he had that on his list that y'all approved at the last board meeting.
So if we get the knuckle boom, and apparently we are, then, are we gonna have a crew, and I'm asking you to the road manager, we gonna have a crew that works on that knuckle boom going along in a pattern to get our roadways cleaned up? The
Just say,
debris?
for instance, on these lines, all the rims, I'm gonna have, ask the foreman to come along and tile that
I got you.
along the way. And another one only requires one operator,
It just,
and just figure it out.
okay.
And we're still working on getting the fine points worked out on the tractors, so we still got that too, that have not been put on order yet.
Right, I'm working with, Mr. Ship at the co-op, I'm working in Kent, in the track.
I have added, put in your packet, got another invoice for the Pickering Farm to,
Well, I don't think, did we,
oh, I'm sorry,
I got a motion, a second, did we approve that?
for the finance.
To do the financing?
Mm-hmm.
We did?
Mhm.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't think you voted on it.
I was gonna say, we got a motion by Supervisor Howard, I think second by Williams. All those in favor, say aye, we'll make sure we got it.
Or you need to change orders for the signal, put a Pickering invoice in your packet, so I need to do orders, I need to pay it, $7,840.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any more discussion on the Pickering matter? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And the last thing I have is, we talked about during budget process that we needed to replace the carpet in the courtrooms and in the jury room over at the administration circuit court building. I have gotten 2 quotes, one for, $10,288 from Magnolia Flooring, and one for $22,691 from Johnson Carpet. I would like to, proceed with this project with, Magnolia Flooring.
So move for Magnolia.
All right, motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Howard. Any more discussion on the matter? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Just a quick note on that, and something for the board to start thinking about, what our attorney brought up earlier, when Mr. Barber was here. Might be good to start looking at a spatial engineering study for all of our facilities, and at least get an idea of how many square feet it will take to house all of our departments and what size building and stuff. Then that way, when we talk to Mr. Barber, he'll have an idea of what type of money we're looking at. That's just something to think about. I don't know what a spatial engineer would cost to study our buildings and our space and how much we'll need, but that's something we might.
I know we had mentioned, because, you know, space is limited here with our county, that we had mentioned that a while back. I don't know where that all went. In other words, an inventory on, you know, even the health department,
Yeah.
justice complex, just everything.
Just
that
everything.
we've got, so, yeah, good point to do. for sure.
And buildings, you know, today can be designed so much more efficient, where there's a lot, might be a lot of space in one office.
Yeah.
You might be able to get 3 offices instead of 2, you know, just something like that. That's just something to think about.
Definitely needs to be done, because we're out of space, given where we got.
Now, as I remember, the state health department offered some funding if we could find a location for a health department. And they were here offering those funding.
Yes, sir, I think you're right, but my, after kind of talking with them a little bit, not trying to, I think their offering was like to the tune of about $50,000, and what I got a feeling we're gonna need.
Yeah, we need much more than that.
It's gonna be a
But-
lot
A little more than 50 grand.
But that's some amount.
Yes, sir, I agree.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Emery?
Nothing, not for mine, I'm ready to go.
Thank you so much. All right, county business supervisors, curfew.
I make a motion to extend the curfew and the mask mandate indefinitely.
All right. Motion by, can we separate those two? I would like to. The curfew separate from the mask, if you would allow. But that's just my ask.
Well, like I said, it's just a motion, I don't have a second on it, so.
Can we hear
I
from the
second.
chief on the curfew?
You got a second, I second that.
Can we hear from the chief on the curfew?
The calls are still down. I will tell y'all that, I ended up working night shift Tuesday night. We had a fight call at the Highlands. We didn't know who the suspects were, so we were stopping cars as they were leaving. We used what the suspect looked like. And everybody said, I promise we're going home. We know we got 3 minutes before the curfew hits. So they know, and it is helping us over the call line.
Just to clear something up, indefinite doesn't really mean indefinite. Indefinite means until we see progress being made in each one of the areas. And I think we need to specify that with my second.
Okay. So got a motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams.
Is this
They're together.
combined, or?
They're combined, is the way his motion is, and I think he would like to keep it that way.
Well, I don't mind separating, if that's what you wanna do, we can vote on each one individually.
I would, because I feel, I would like to keep the curfew, the mask mandate, I would like to not keep, but that's my personal belief.
I understand,
Um,
and, you know, they're gonna pass either way.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, not, but be voted on.
Right. But at this time, we got a motion.
You got your amendment, we went on.
Yeah, I'd like to amend that we vote on separately.
So this is the curfew.
Issue.
The curfew indefinitely, I'm fine with that. So we got a motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams, with the amendment that's only the curfew. Any more discussion on the matter? If not, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carries unanimous on the curfew. Now, the mask mandate. Need a motion?
Same
second?
motion for that one.
You want a motion by Supervisor Trainer for the mask mandate indefinitely. Second by Supervisor Williams. Any more discussion on the matter?
If we can word this to revisit it, at each board, and which basically is the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, we can, I mean,
We
when
just
we
say,
need,
we'll revisit at each board meeting.
but it'll
I'll
just,
put it on the agenda for each board meeting.
All right, sounds good.
so, indefinitely or till next board meeting, I don't, it's up to you.
It'll come up.
We'll just say indefinitely, and that way it won't hold you to a date
And
specific.
I'll definitely know.
And then, of course, we'll just discuss it every board meeting. Any more discussion on the matter? Got a motion and a second on the plate, table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 3-2. All right, appointment to the Tom Bigby Water District Board.
Ms. Emily had suggested a person, and I actually talked to him this morning, and he said he would be willing to do it, but he wanted to check, because he didn't want to follow any friction with the ex-director sitting, but he said, let us know, he'd let us know something in a couple of days, but he'd be more than happy to do it.
You want to
Do we
table it?
appoint him or table?
Table.
You want to table it till next board meeting?
And with that, I have some people in my district that, those engineers that came in, that are retired, that have showed, that's what they did, was engineers, they're interested in putting their name in the hat, so I'd like to submit their information too.
Okay, so can we then maybe give that information to Miss Emily, both of you, put it in our box, and then we can take a look at it and make a decision next board meeting? You okay with that?
You already have information about what you set up, and I think he would be an excellent appointment because of his previous knowledge about what's going on in the district.
I don't doubt that, I just think that somebody that has come to us that's an engineer too, that is retired, has, it's been a long time, has a lot of time to help county to move forward, not a new job that they're taking on.
Exactly, and then if ours come back where it don't work, we have somebody else too.
Alright, so let's,
And I think too that he would know what the funding sources would be for us to try to acquire some funding sources. Excellent appointment, and we can get him.
so, we'll table that matter. Now we need to look at the appointment to the GTRSWMA board, which would be the Regional Solid Waste Management. So, that's a mouthful right there.
That's, that's the,
And this was the gentleman that had it before passed away. And so, we need one by the, says specifically by the end of the year. But,
At this point, I don't have any recommendations. I was asking Ms. Miller, I know she mentioned about a couple of guys, I don't know whether they would be interested in that position.
or do we wanna table that until next board meeting as well?
I don't, but I can ask.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be glad to.
Let's table that.
Let's table that.
Until maybe the first
And that way we can-
have some-
Can we just submit some names, and Miss Emily, and email them out to everybody on both of these positions before next week, so we have time to look at it and think about it?
Sure. And that's what I was gonna say is, for both of these, we'll table them. I think we'll have a lot of good candidates come in. Everybody take a good, long, honest look at it. I think we'll be fine. We'll table that as well. The MAS legislative proposal request, you got something in your box. These are just the core legislative proposals, that we need to show, some support for. I won't read them all off, but you see there's 5 proposals right there. They're just the MAS, had looked at, that are our core, proposals that we're looking to try to get passed, and so we need to acknowledge these and show support for those, on a county level. So I guess we need a board order saying that we acknowledge these and support these proposals, if we so choose as a county. So I need a motion and a second to do just that.
My motion. I don't think these are anything new.
No.
They're not new, they've been, put before us several times. I kinda wonder whether or not the county has to be the authority for the salary adjustment, and that's number 2.
I would agree.
It looks like that shouldn't have to be our responsibility to make that adjustment. But I do agree with these because they've been put before us many times before.
Oh, you mean as far as having to spread some of the minutes to accept the salary?
Yeah.
You know, that's always been the caveat of the legislature. I've never seen one passed where they wouldn't put that burden back on the board.
Put it back on
You
the
know,
board.
it's probably, for other reasons, unintended consequences. I don't wanna say it's anything other than that. But I've never seen it to where there's been a raise to where the board didn't have to acknowledge it, spread some of it. But, all process of legislative things change. I don't know.
Not only that,
Yeah, y'all wanna get a raise? Y'all gotta
but
pay
the
for it.
board has to be the authority to make the adjustment, not just to spread it on the minute, but they have to be the one to make those adjustments.
Yes, you have to be the one to accept it or not, you can accept it or not accept it, yeah.
But we can't just give it to ourselves.
right.
Arbitrary.
There are some departments that automatically,
That's true.
that raise is automatically, attached to growth.
Well, and your population.
But ours, if we grow the county to that particular point to where you can get a raise, then you have to actually
Voted in.
vote it in to get it, whereas some departments, it just automatically
For some elected
increases.
officials.
Yeah, some elected officials, so.
So,
Motion for approval?
motion by Supervisor Williams, second by, I'll second that. Any more discussion on the matter?
Did you sign it first?
If not, all those in
We're not
favor?
approving our own raises, are we?
We have to.
No, no,
We'll
no.
have-
Look at this
we'll
thing.
We're not gonna get one.
Y'all don't get one.
I mean, this is not a raise for us.
No, it's just,
That's a proposal.
That's a proposal for.
these are
Supervisor Association.
proposals. That each county says that the MAS, these are our, core legislative proposals. Then as a county, you know, we show on a state level that, hey, all 82 counties are for these proposals through the MAS, show some unity.
But this is not a raise.
No. These are just
I'll make
proposals.
it clear that I'm not voting for a raise for myself.
I was just proposing in terms of how raises are given.
Right. So, we got a motion and a second, on the floor. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So we got 5 over and 0. All right. I guess, we'll send it around the room. I'll start with Supervisor Miller. Do you have anything out of District 4?
I just have two things, real quick, please. There's a large tree, I don't think it's down so y'all can hear me, there's a very large tree on Courthouse Road. It is on the east side of the road, but if you're going west, so if you're coming from like the horse park and you top that hill right there, it's sticking out, you cannot see the stoplight at all, the limbs or so, and it's not that anything that we could reach with the county vehicles. It's really tall, it needs to be cut down. So I'd like to do a board order and have, the tree service, Allen's Tree Service or whomever come out and trim those limbs back so, citizens can see the stoplight when they come down across the hill. That's my motion.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any more discussion on the matter? Not all those in favor say aye.
The second thing that I have is, Kristen has been working on a grant for sirens for Maven and for Sturgis, and I just want to share this with y'all. Sturgis siren system has been out for a very long time. She thinks that there's a possibility to get that. Problem is with these small communities, they may have the money to cover, it's a reimbursement grant, so you have to have that money up front to pay for that. And then the community may be out $5,000 to $7,000 at the very end by the time the reimbursements come in. But it's just something that we need to think about, because I don't know that even in Sturgis that they could come up with $5,000 to $7,000. I know they couldn't come up with all of that money for the siren system, but I don't know that they could come up with even that $5,000 to $7,000, you know, to cover their part of it. So I just want y'all to know that's not only just for Sturgis, but also one for Maven, and that's been out for a very long time. And that area does not have, and a lot of times, adequate cell service, and so the people obviously would like the siren system in their community. So I'm just putting that out there so y'all can think about that. That's all.
Supervisor Trainer.
Yes, I have 2 items there I want to spread on the board minutes for consideration. One is need a right-of-way permission to enter, the property of Mr. Shep Crumpton on Rock Hill Road, for us to do, some improvements to the drainage as far as draining, water across his property. And we wanted to get it done now because I don't think we'll find a meeting again until December unless we got another meeting that's gonna come up. So we wanna take advantage of that driveway. Mr. Crumpton on Rock Hill Road.
All right.
So I make a motion to do that.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer. What, so, well.
We got 2 cross drains that are underneath the road.
Okay.
And so we need to get on his property so we can continue to drain that property away from, drain that water away from the road.
You're not paving the driveway after all.
No, we're not doing it. No pavement involved, no gravel. The only thing we'll be responsible for doing is whatever dirt we remove, we need to be mindful of what we do with it. We dispose of it, or spread the property so it won't do any damage to the property.
Got a motion by Supervisor Trainer. Second by Supervisor Williams. Any more discussion on the matter? If not, all those in favor say aye.
And also, need to amend our order that we have with the city concerning our project on the Treasure Lane, Henry Road area. We discovered that there may be some additional pipes that may need to be put in, and we wanted to make sure that we can amend our agreement so we can go ahead and do those, once they're discovered. So just would like to amend that order that we have on the minutes with the city as relates to that project. Henderson Road, Henderson Lane, Henry's Lane and Treasure Lane.
So motion by Supervisor Trainer. I'll second that motion. Any more discussion on the matter? If If not, all those in favor say aye.
Also, just kind of give you all an update of some things that we've been doing. And this is something I want to recommend, really all of us supervisors and even everybody that's in leadership positions. I've been fortunate enough to be involved taking the NACO High Performance Leadership class through our National Association, and got this opportunity because of a scholarship that was provided because of some of the things that were going on with the pandemic and some other things. This particular course, it has, I think, about a $2,000 value that they assign to individuals taking this course. And it's recommended for anybody that's in county government, that's sponsored through NACO, and if you're in a leadership position, whether you are a board member or in some type of leadership position within the county, I would strongly recommend that this would be a class that we would consider allowing some of our people to get engaged in and to get involved in, because it really gives you a lot of different perspectives as it relates to leadership and some of the challenges and some of the things you can do internally. So I wanted to just enlighten you of that, and maybe sometime in the future, if we got people that are in leadership positions or desire to be leaders within this county, we can get connected with some type of leadership programs where we can start shaping and honing people to take on these positions and do some things that would be really significant to the county. So I just want to kind of let y'all know what we've been doing. The cost was no cost to the county, and that was one of the reasons why I took advantage of it, because I encouraged some of our employees to pursue it, and then when it came over to where it was no cost, I said, well, hey, the best way to encourage somebody to do something is do it yourself, and then that way you can give them a testimony how important it is, how beneficial it is. But it's through the National Association of Counties, NACO, and it's Colin Powell is one of the main orchestrators behind putting this thing together, dealing with high performance leadership, and I think it's really beneficial. In times like these, you need people with different leadership perspectives to be able to deal with some of the challenges that we're dealing with. We just want to give you an update on that.
Thanks so much. Supervisor Williams?
Well, in relation to the Pickering study, they did a study associated with impact study on endangered species. But that was endangered species only. I'd like to see them do an impact study on how it's gonna impact, impact individuals who own property on that road. Yeah.
Poorhouse Road,
On
right?
Poorhouse Road,
Okay.
on Poorhouse Road, and, two, how it's gonna impact, utility, lines.
People on road,
Yeah.
utilities.
Is anyone gonna have to give up some property? And how they're going to, how they're gonna be funded? Will utility lines have to be removed, replaced? I'm more concerned about that than I am, and I like the idea about endangered species, but I also like the idea of how it's gonna impact the citizens along that highway.
So,
I would think the process would be just like Blackjack, because this is a build grant, it's talking for 4 or 5 years down the road. I mean, that they could possibly get this is not something that's gonna happen tomorrow, this is what they're looking forward to, is something, much larger project, but I would imagine it would be just like Blackjack, where they would have to, go to the citizens and offer them financial, can you talk about that a little bit, Attorney, and about moving the lines? It'll be the same type of project, so can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Nothing's gonna happen on any of these roads without, well, I guess Blackjack is a good example. If it had been a supervisor, Williams help on some of the people through there. Well, a lot of times people don't like a lawyer calling, and it was good, let me take this down, it's hard to understand. It's good to have people that know you, that you can be introduced to and make certain that they understand. But sometimes it's just like the easement process that we did on Blackjack Road. Morehouse Road's gonna be similar to that. I mean, there's not gonna be a situation where it's automatic. We're gonna have to go get their signatures on stuff. And if there's something that pops up that's a problem, we'll know about it pretty quick. But anytime you have a widening or it's gonna be the same process. I think the DEQ requires the impact study on the environment.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
correct?
part of it.
In the same regard, the people that are impacted are gonna have to be dealt with as well. To be honest with you, we're the ones that are gonna be doing the bulk of the, I don't wanna say hand-holding, but making certain that they're taken care of the way they're supposed to.
Right, but I just want to start thinking down the line.
Yes, sir.
Would it be, my suggestion would be to get the Pickering firm and Mr. Furr and his representatives to come and talk to the board, because it's going to be a lot different, but this is gonna be a federal project.
Right.
But it's gonna be an exciting project, for the county. And I think that, whenever y'all decide what you wanna do, get them to come in and do the presentation and layout. Because it's gonna take, there's gonna be public hearings involved in it. It's going to be very detailed. It's a very detailed project, but it's gonna be a good project for the county. And I think we got a good group that's representing the county doing it. But just whenever y'all decide, just invite them in to come in.
Yeah, this is gonna be quite different because I believe we're gonna have to acquire additional new land that's not associated with the existing structure.
Well, same as like Longview, they had to go in there. There were utilities involved, there were, fences, there were land.
Not all that pretty like fence at Horse Park. There's a lot of things that might have to be moved, but to make the road
Improve
wider,
the road.
and to improve the road, and, because it is a major corridor to the university and to that side of town. It will just have to be done.
In addition to that, I believe Mr. Klein, Pritchett, talked to you about an individual who was trying to acquire, water on Osby Road. Anyway, we need approval to tap that line in the middle of the road.
On what road?
On Poorhouse,
Osby Road.
the little road off the side of Poorhouse there.
Yeah, well, no. So,
Where's that?
Osby Road.
Clyde were to send you some documents on that.
Bethel, Wheatboro,
Where's Osby?
I don't think,
It's on.
it must be
Osborne?
doing this site
Osby.
development.
It's
permit,
between,
that
where
was-
Yeah,
Wheatboro
site
is.
development.
Okay.
Bethel Road,
Hey,
there's a connected
hey,
paved
excuse
road.
me, please. There's a site development permit
Okay.
on 140 Osby Road.
Okay, I have to look at that,
Okay, we need approval because that line is in the middle of the road. Now, I don't know who put it in the middle of the road, but that's where it's at.
okay.
So that means we're gonna have to get in the middle of the road to be able to provide water for that particular person and continue with the site development permit.
Oh, my goodness.
So you're gonna have to dig the road up,
Gonna have to dig road
cause it's capped in the road, under the road.
in the middle of the road.
Is this
You're gonna have to
county road?
come off of it.
It's a county
I'm
road.
looking it up, is that a 911 road?
It's a county road. Osby Road is a county road.
That's what Supervisor Trainer was explaining, where it was
Yeah.
to us.
So Clyde,
This is first I'm hearing about it, but I understand what you're talking about, the site development permit, but this, Clyde has not mentioned it tonight.
yeah, we can't move forward with the site development permit until that's done.
Okay, and that's your water district,
It's called it.
Baltimore, your water district? Okay.
There's no way to come back up the road and try to get it in a place where it's in a better
Well, there's a
spot.
lot of them in the middle of the road, so we can.
Are y'all gonna move it, or it's gonna stay there?
I'll stay there.
Okay.
Just
We
come off of
will, we will
that.
take it out so we won't have to go back in there. He says in my district, it's not my district, because I offer service to the community free of charge. I don't get paid to do any work for talking water. It's service to the community.
Okay, so we requesting that the board allow that, well, he will give us a thing to dig, right? Clyde's gonna do
Clyde should give you, and they've
Right away
already,
sheet,
and I
yeah.
think they've already given some
Approve
information.
us to dig and road, right?
yeah.
I don't know whether that come back to the board for that, because if we do, that's gonna be the first of the month, and that would take a long time for you to complete the site development plan.
Well, he has not given it to me, I don't believe.
So, do we need a board order of these?
It's gonna be a right-of-way assessment request, is what it's gonna be.
So I second the motion that we authorize.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer,
Cut through the road or whatever we do.
to do it open.
No other way to do it.
But without only Miss Emily gets the proper paperwork, that needs to be the amendment on that.
Sure, I mean, yeah, that we amend it in lieu of the fact that we get the site development.
Development,
Yeah.
paperwork.
Well, what he's gonna be giving me is that, utility, access request
The form
that y'all have
everybody's
to,
gonna approve.
yeah.
So in lieu of that, we got a
Yeah.
motion and a second, any more discussion on that?
Yeah, and associated with that motion that we receive assistance from, the road department to help repair that road to the condition where it was afterward. They're gonna have to do that anyway.
Is that a paved road?
Yeah.
No pavement, just gravel.
Oh, well,
Is
then,
that normal?
That's normal.
So I thought we were bored. Miss Emily, is that normal?
The, utility companies, when they cut across the road or anything, they're supposed to repair it at their own expense back to the level that it was when they did it with the approval of the road manager or the county engineer, that they were satisfied with what they did. They're supposed to make the repair.
they being utility company.
Yeah, the utility
water.
company, whoever it is that's accessed it and dug it.
In other districts where Supervisor Williams not involved with the utility, do they have the county come out in those districts and fix the road? When they cut the roads? Okay, I can't.
I'd ask the road manager, do we, as a county, do we fix, say, Adenton Water Association dug across the road, bored across the road, do we as the Oktibbeha County go fix that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, we got permission from the board for us to find some gravel on the road, and we did that, but that's all we got.
Well, I'm glad he cleared that up, because I think we will really making a big deal out of this situation. If he furnished the gravel and the association go ahead on and fill the hole back up, that's the way it's been being done all the time. Now, if it's not done that way, the road is not gonna set up like it should set up. So it just causing problems it causing problem in the future. If the gravel is not provided to cover the hole back up, and the type of gravel that is provided is gonna set the road up more sufficiently than what we will put the old gravel back in. So that's being done all the time.
All right, so to that point, what Supervisor Williams is talking to the road manager, Mr. Baggett, when Adenton Water Association digs across Dido Road, whatever road, on the gravel part, do the commonplace, does, the utility company, do they smooth it out, put the gravel back how it is, or do we county come out and put gravel on it?
Apparently, the water association does, because he knows it out.
Okay.
This is
seems-
what we've got, this is what we've got in place, this is the order. What the board voted on and what's on the books is this: when a utility company requests to cut the road, we have them contact Clyde Pritchard, our county engineer. Clyde tells them, if you're gonna cut the road, this is what you gotta do to replace the road. You gotta package this, and you gotta repair the road. That's the step I do. When somebody requests to cut my road, I send them straight to Clyde. Clyde tells them what they must do to repair their road back to the standard that it was. Now, that's
Without involving the
that's
road.
what's on the books.
Okay. So, I guess Supervisor Williams, what's on the books is the utility company has to repair the road back.
Now, that being said, though, there's a.
The utility company been doing it all the time. It's just that the county been providing necessary material, so the place that is cut through was set up sufficiently.
Am I
They
hearing
don't, they don't move the material.
Am I hearing that right, Supervisor Howard? The county, he's saying that the county is gonna provide gravel, et cetera,
Well,
to get the.
if it's a gravel road, you know, that's sort of, just the gravel part is sort of maintenance.
Yeah,
You
that's
can
maintenance. They
put
don't
some
provide
gravel,
gravel.
but as far as packing the hole back in the place,
They don't do
that's funded by the utility.
Okay. So you're gonna, I'm saying the utility company, are y'all gonna pack like everyone else?
Do it all the time.
Okay.
Do it all the time. Only thing he would do is bring a load of gravel out and drop it so we can use the gravel to pack the hole back in.
Okay.
That's the only thing.
So we got a motion and a second on the floor to do the cut on Osby Road, or to let Clyde know we're doing a cut on Osby Road. Any more discussion on the matter? If not, all those in favor say aye. Motion. Any opposed?
Yeah.
Okay, 4-1.
4-1.
Alright. Anything else, Supervisor Williams?
No, I don't have anything.
Supervisor Howard?
No, I'm good.
Alright.
Got some things.
Alright, well, I've got a couple of things. Last board meeting, I'd asked for a cross drain on Whispering Pines to have that hot mix machine come back over it and fix it. And it's still not been done. If we can, I made the board order last time. I'm still getting calls about that one cross drain at Whispering Pines. If we could get that done quickly, I would certainly appreciate it. And I've got something I'll wait till the end.
Let me make sure we already got your water order. Did we get a water order?
Yes.
That was last board meeting.
Yes, we
I
did.
didn't want it to be on us, but that's the reason it get done.
Miss Emily, you said you had some things?
Rob?
Or Rob?
I did. First and foremost, this is, dealing with, the creek that we are, we kind of doing a, cooperation with the city on. I would ask that we pass the interlocal to the point of, with the language set forth, that we approve it substantially. The reason I say substantial form is because they're going to be dealing with it tomorrow night, and I wanna make certain the language is the same in both. All we've done is the same thing. We've allowed $10,000 for Stringer Creek for the clean out. That was and it's coming out of Supervisor Miller's, 4-year road money, if I'm not mistaken. But I wanted to make certain that we approve that today in substantial form so that the language is correct in both of the documents. Because he's got his document, when I say he, Chris Latimer's got his documents that he's working on, that he's getting approved tomorrow night. And we're basically the same, but he may have a B or an and or a the or something like that.
We can have one document.
Do I now?
It's not a big one. It's not.
No, I realize that, but
Okay.
in substantial form, it's gonna be the same document. I just don't want us to be in a situation where if something happens tomorrow night and he and I didn't get the exact language together, that we can get it together.
Are we providing funds is this private property that we're providing those
It's a
funds?
county creek.
It's the county creek.
It's on private property though.
It's potentially,
No, that was fine. Every creek that runs through every person's property is potentially on private property, but they're all county creeks.
right.
I mean, this is Springer Creek.
Yeah.
This runs down into your district.
It's on private property.
It is not on private property.
It's a county creek that runs through the whole county, so nobody technically owns the water.
Nobody owns the water. If it flows in and out, you can even
Actually,
look
it's
on
time to,
maps
you're exactly
and
right.
see, the map shows that That is not private property, that is actually,
It's a drainage
Right.
it's a drainage channel, and it's while it is on private property, we can
This is the same
give
thing.
money to the city to clean it out.
well, at the end of the day too, Supervisor Williams, and look, it was necessary. We approved, not very long ago, we approved to go on to a Mr. Shep Crumpton's property, to do something on private property. Earlier in the meeting.
It wasn't clear up there, it was on private property.
And that costs the county money.
And so that y'all are aware, the 10,000 that's coming out of these funds is about a fourth of what they're probably gonna spend, on this, so that y'all have as much information as possible. And this is exactly the same project we talked about, I wanna say it was a month and a half ago, or thereabout.
3 months.
3 months, I apologize, about 3 months ago. So it's just taking that long for us to get our stuff together as far as the attorneys are concerned.
What role can Tom Bigby Waterway Management District play in getting that done, so we wouldn't have to use, taxpayers' dollars? to
We use
get that
taxpayers'
done?
dollars to fund Tom Baby Water Association.
We have already funded, however, so we just duplication of funding is what it is.
Well, she's using her 4-year road plan money.
It's the duplication of funding, we already have.
It's her 4-year road plan
We
money,
already
that's what I'm
have.
saying though, Supervisor Williams.
Yeah, but we already have funding for that kind of
I'll make a motion.
operation to take
Okay.
place.
Motion by Supervisor Miller, I'll make the second to enter with the city on that ditch relating to the, courthouse road. Any more discussion, and Supervisor Williams, by all means, any more discussion on the matter?
I would like to discuss, and I'm gonna vote in favor of this, but I do want some clarity on this. I would like to know when we go to address drainage issues, does it or does it not have to be tied to the fact that it's causing damage to our roads? When we
Yeah.
move in to address drainage issues, can we address them if it's causing problems to private owners of property? So I just would need to have a determination on whether it's we're addressing road issues with drainage, and I'm just asking for clarity on this now. Because in one hand, we say, well, if we go off of the right of way to address the drainage issue, it's gotta be because it's causing damage to our road. So I'm just trying to figure out now where we at on this.
Well, that's actually one of the better, when you're looking at the legal dynamics of trying to do this, what we have to do is find that it's a substantial problem with our road system. We have to make a finding. After we make that finding, we can move forward and proceed with it, but you have to base it on substantial evidence that's been provided in about 3 months ago.
And I guess that finding has been made.
That finding, my understanding was it was found 3 months ago or so, when we had that hearing. The secondary part of that though, which is part of this, when we entered into the Tom Bigby water deal, they are qualified to go in and do major projects or other projects that, so when this comes about, I don't want there to be a distinction, and I'm trying to make it look like one's different from this. It is different because they're set up to go in and do this, even if it is our money that's being approved, they're set up to do this, across the county, and it doesn't necessarily have to attach to that. In other words, we don't have to find that finding, they're finding those issues out on their own.
Yeah.
And, I'd like to, another, conclusion in regards to that, and I'm gonna vote in favor of it too. But if we really need a comprehensive plan on how to deal with creeks being clogged up. Because if we clear up one area, and that's not the back area, we really need to start from the back and go to the front. In other words, because we clear up that area, that's only gonna push water down somewhere else that's gonna flood that area out. So therefore, we really need to start in the back part of that particular creek and move towards the city area. That's what we need to happen. It's gonna cause a flood out area on Poorhouse Road that's already flooding out real bad. That's what it's gonna happen.
Well, I do know this, is that there are houses that are flooding as a result of that creek being swollen, if I'm correct, in, Country Club Estates. Isn't it Country Club Estates? So, that's the whole reasoning behind this, is to try to clear up some flooding that's happening across, well, their
And it
streets.
does flood Courthouse, you know, it does flood Courthouse Road, because they can't get underneath the bridge to
Yeah.
come through, so they're gonna go underneath the bridge, you know, to help the water. And you gotta remember, this is called maintenance of creeks. That's, when we all met with the Todd-Bibby Water Association, they all said the same thing. We're not digging the creek out, we're doing maintenance of the creek.
It's clogged up. And we're not doing it, we're just allowing them to do it, and you're using your 4-year road plan money to help it along.
The only thing I'm saying is the original finding has to be that we're going in to address the issue because it's causing problems to our road. That has to be the original finding in order to go in, not because it's flooding our houses, but it's the original finding has to be.
So can we vote on that then without having those initial findings in place?
Those findings were, you had evidence of those findings about 3 months ago.
So I'm good, I'm good.
Okay. So, I think you made the motion, I made the second. We've had discussion, any more discussion on the matter? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I think we're unanimous. All right. Anything else, Supervisor Howard or Ms. Ingram?
No, I'm good.
He has, what
Rob?
about your, ordinance for your,
I'm not done.
the ordinance for, okay, he's not done.
I'm sorry, y'all, I'm catching y'all. We've got approval of the restoration of the hall roads, which we already approved it. Now we've got to approve the hearing, not the hearing, put it in the paper.
What we gotta do is we gotta publicize it, and that's what.
Heavy haul.
The heavy haul ordinance, and I did make the changes that Supervisor Williams brought up to make certain that we had our engineer and our road manager as the approval, some of the approval processes, so I want to make sure that we got that taken care of. But we were putting that in the paper starting whenever.
Yeah, and it's not for a hearing, it's just let people notify that we have changed, got an ordinance and something for them to follow.
Well, that was a change too, as to how they were to cross over the ditch area. Well,
They have to
would
put a
their
cover
own-
down, they have to
well,
put a cover
but
down.
that should be in the heavy haul and
I
contract.
had one call me last week.
I had a company that called Supervisor Montgomery first and then realized it was in my district, this is out in the area we crossed, and then once he realized it was gonna be publicized and all this, he came back and he said, we're not gonna do that area right now, we're gonna log a different area. So I think that it's gonna make the community more aware of where the trucks are supposed to be going. And, you know, he was trying to pitch his route to me.
Yeah.
Is the reason he called the route he wanted to go, which was shorter, and I said, we're gonna go the route that's best for the county roads. And so he called back and said they were gonna log a different area. I think it's already had a positive impact.
So I guess my question is that a part of the contract where they have to provide their own cover to be able to cross the ditch area?
Yes.
To the place where.
We don't provide anything.
Yes, they have to provide.
But that has to be a part of the heavy haul contract.
It's in there.
Okay, it's in there.
So do we need to make a
So I made that send it in.
board order to publicize this?
And
Let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna do a board order to publicize this.
I mean, we did an order approving it and everything, and there's no exception that we approved the policy. Now we're just trying to let people know that we have a policy. Mr. Baggett has, sent emails out and contacted his timber haulers that he's familiar with. We put it on the website, And so now just wanted to get it in the paper so people will know it's been published.
So we're gonna make it, we need a
But
board order.
we're not having no hearing to get it approved after.
It will be in the newspaper, it will be put on the website, and it will also be put in, on the bulletin board outside the Chancery Clerk's office. So, because of the length of the document, we're not publicizing, put the whole thing in there, if you want to see it on the website, the notice will refer to that. Or, frankly, you get in touch with me, and I will give you a copy of it. Either way, as long as, if you want a copy of it, we'll make certain that the public has a copy of it. But it's just such a long, ordinance. Did all of y'all have also a chance to look over the fire, document to make certain that y'all's approve it?
I like it.
Because we already passed it and everything, I just want to make sure y'all do the language.
I think that'll knock out 90% of that. Huh?
I got that this morning, are we fixing that?
Yeah, we need a board order to do, the heavy haul, to advertise for the heavy haul, to publish for the heavy haul. So, right. I made the motion, second by Supervisor Miller, all those in favor, say aye. Alright, so you've gotta go at this very moment. I was gonna ask if we could go to executive session real quick, for personnel matter.
Actually, personnel and a real estate deal.
Okay, real quick.
Actually, did the time.
I make the motion, second by Supervisor, Miller, that we go to executive session. All those in favor say aye.